This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Let's hang out with Richard Williams from Kansas. Let's do that. Tomorrow night at Magic City, Doug Gray and Marshall Tucker are going to be opening up for Richard Williams and company of Kansas. Of course, I'm a monster Kansas fan, as all of you know out there. I've seen Richard many times live, and now he is kind enough to join us here on the program. Richard, how you doing, my friend? You feeling good?
Doing great.
I like it. I like it. You ready to jam tomorrow night?
Yeah, we're jamming tonight. We're going to do it the next night and the next night after that.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, I cheated like I normally do. I go to setlist.fm. You know about setlist.fm, right? That's that website that we all go to find out the song list of bands that you're going to go see. And when I saw you're opening up with People of the Southwind, I just, because you don't play that one on every tour. So I just want to thank you because that's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Well, it'll be a little bit different for you because the first 5 songs are set up. We call ourselves the Stools. It's all acoustic.
Sure, I know.
And it comes off extremely well. It comes off very powerful. Ronnie really sings it well. And so it's we kind of ease into the set a bit because the middle part, again, is a collection of songs from our whole career. Then eventually we get into Point of No Return in its entirety. So it's about an hour or 2.5, 2 hours and 20 minutes long, the entire set.
Yeah. Well, listen, Richard, it helps when you're great musicians and your harmonies are just absolutely amazing. So when you're able to do that, People of the Southwind, whether it's acoustic style or electric style, it doesn't matter. It's going to sound phenomenal. And that's the one thing that I give you guys so much credit, Richard. You've always been a great band, but you've always maintained that level throughout the decades. You've made a couple of changes along the way, but those changes have been strong changes, and you've maintained that high level that you guys have always had throughout your careers. I commend you for that.
Out of necessity, really. We've always been a bunch of mutts. We couldn't get along on our looks, so we really had to do it with some measurable talent.
Yes, and there's no doubt when it comes to lyrics and music and arrangement and harmonies and singing, it's just absolutely amazing when it comes to Kansas. I gotta also tell you this. Miracles Out of Nowhere is a biography I think I've watched like 8 times already over the years. And I don't know how much fun you guys had making this or being a part of it. Maybe you can walk us through that. But I got to tell you that as a Kansas fan, I just find myself every couple of months wanting to watch it over again just to see if I pick up on something I didn't pick up on the last time around. But it is such an enjoyable biography. I think yours and the Eagles are 2 of my favorites that I've watched over and over again because it is so detailed on telling your story.
Well, it was a process. I happened to be in Topeka with my wife, Debbie, and just seeing friends. And Phil and I had been kind of talking about a book of just, loosely, maybe one day we should tell the story before we're no longer here. Kicking that around. And then while in Topeka, I was just noticing, keeping that in mind, that every time I walked around a corner, there was another story to tell. I was just, remember the time when. And so we started saying, well, maybe this should be more, maybe an audio book, and it should involve more people. And so as we were still brainstorming on it, it turned into maybe get everybody's input. Well, we need to get everybody here, so we can kind of get all our thoughts together. Well, then an old manager, Bud Carr, started getting involved too, and they started saying, well, this needs to be a documentary. And so it kept growing and growing until then we had to agree exactly what is this going to be about. We did not want it to be the story of naughty boys doing naughty things, because you take any band anywhere and you can tell that story. It's kind of old news. Fill in the gaps. Imagine, yeah, we did it, or somebody
Right.
did,
Right.
and I probably did. So it had to be an inspirational story. Or some people didn't really want anything to do with it. And so now we had a framework. Well, since the story is continuing today, we need to have an ending point. So we ended up, with the original six, and just so far into our career, before more of the glory days. And so now there was a parameter and a reason for the story, and then getting everybody together all in the same rooms again was fantastic. And it just kind of flowed out of us. We had a great director who put it all together, and very proud of it. It's funny.
Should be.
I hadn't seen it in a while, and my wife and I had moved from Atlanta a year ago up into the mountains of North Carolina. We just installed a television in the kitchen, and that was the only thing we had on just to put on. And we came on towards the end of it, and I caught myself just watching it and watching it, still captivated by it. And then the end came, and we got all dewy-eyed. I mean, it still is moving to me. And so we're very proud of how that worked out.
You should be, and for me, it's as a fan, I love watching it. I could never get enough of it. Is there something now after all these years you're going, damn, we left something out. We should have put this. What is it?
There could be a story here or there, but I think the essence of what we wanted to say,
Mm-hmm.
that we were a band, we were friends, and this was our journey from the middle of nowhere to the top of the mountain, and that was really the story. And we could add this and take away that, but we did achieve that story within that, and so very satisfied with it.
Is there a part of you that you're unhappy with the fact that you haven't been given the honor that you guys deserve? Because I don't believe you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, correct?
No, we're in
Why?
really good company, though.
Why? Why?
There's an incredible bunch of musicians out there that aren't, and probably
I
never
know.
will be,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah, but you know what's gonna happen, Richard? It's like watching Deep Purple get in, and then we gotta watch John Lord's wife there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't wanna do that, you know?
Oh,
You
I
guys
am,
are
and
still
we
around,
lost
and, I
we
know
lost Robbie Steinhardt last
why
year.
we just lost Robbie Steiner, and I was I saw you guys back in the Monolith days and all that, but I was so lucky a couple years ago, Robbie came on stage with you guys over in, this place in Miramar that you guys were at, and he came on for, like, 2 songs, and it was really
Sure.
cool to see him there with you guys, and, it sucks that we lost Robbie already, and this is an honor that all of you should be enjoying and sharing because you've earned the right to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You are a Hall of Famer, Richard Williams. The
Well,
band
I'm not going to disagree
are
with
Hall
you,
of
but
Famers.
I'll speak for myself. Personally, I don't need the slap on the back. I know what we've done, and I'm very proud of what we've done. But for our fans, for our family members, for my grandchildren, um, it means a lot for a legacy. They can go there and take my grandchildren, take their children there, and say this is what your great grandfather did. Um, that means a lot to them, and so it would mean a lot to me. But we don't. We're still working. We're still busy. It's not really. Maybe I'm sitting in a chair with an ascot and a pipe, petting the Irish setter. I might kind of think about it, but we're way too busy to concern ourselves with that.
Yeah, you're right. By the way, one of our listeners says for Richard, we've always heard about Neil Peart and Stuart Copeland who deserve their praise. However, Phil Earhart is one of the most underrated drummers in rock. And by the way, one tough bitch too, because I remember a couple years back he fell off the drum kit and he was banged up and yet he kept the tour going and all that, and he was injured. So Let's give Phil the love he deserves too, Richard.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we've both taken our lumps. 5 years ago, I walked off a stage in the dark and broke an ankle, beat up. But the next week, I was playing from a chair. It's what you do. You know, Phil had to hobble around with a cane for a while, but he wasn't going to give it up. And through rehab, Phil's playing better than ever now. I told him that the other day. I think you're playing better than you ever have. And we've been playing together since we were 16 years old.
It's amazing. Just, it simply is amazing. Is the rush the same for you every time you take the stage? Because I know tomorrow night I'll have goosebumps the second you guys take the stage. So I want you to know that I get the same goosebumps watching you when I was 15 years old, and now that I'm 55, watching you, it's the same thing for me. So how is it for you when you're about to take the stage?
Um, I was born to do this, but my constitution isn't one of, well, get me on that stage. I'm still nervous. I'm nervous before every show. I hide it well. But 1, 2, 3, go, and suddenly you get in the moment and you do it. But I woke up today. We've been off for a few weeks. I woke up today with a pit in my stomach, just going, "Oh God, we got a show tonight," and there are nerves to it. That's a part I don't care for, but I also understand that it is that keeps me on my toes, because I'm as hard as anybody would ever be on myself to make sure I'm prepared. Did I practice enough? I forgot to go over that song for the 8th time, yesterday. So it's kind of a necessity for me to get my head in the game. Some people just walk out nonchalant, just go, "Oh, let's have fun," and without a care. That's never been me. I've always been nervous about it. But when the moment starts, there's nothing on earth that can replace the start of a show.
Guitarist. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There was a time when we had a few years off, and suddenly we were back on the road again. And at the time, we had a curtain surrounding the stage, and it would fill up with smoke. And then as the song started, the stage would open and the fog would pour out. So we're standing in our positions. I reached over to Phil and said, "This moment is what has been missing in our lives for the last 2 years. That anticipation of, hang on, because here we go."
Right.
And there's nothing in life that will ever fill that.
Kind of almost feels like when you go click, 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 click on the roller coaster, and right when you're about to take that dip, that's where the excitement starts. It's kind of like what you're talking about. I feel you, Richard. Before I let you go, you're a Chiefs fan, so
Yeah.
what do you got to say about your Chiefs this weekend?
Burrows is tough, and they've been tough against Kansas City. It's a scary game. I'm glad it's at home. But I always watch Chiefs games, peeking through my fingers and focusing on every negative thing that happens. Another holding call. How could you drop that pass? But I'm sure people that are fans of the team playing against them are peeking through their fingers going, "Oh, what a nightmare. We've got to play the Chiefs."
Yeah. Well, can you imagine a Bengals fan who hasn't had a slither of the success that you and your fan base has had? You know what I'm saying? It's got to be a lot worse for Bengals fans.
It's got to be. I watched the game the next day on the NFL Network after watching the game live. And I really enjoyed it the second time through because I didn't scream. I didn't pound the bed. I wasn't shocked in horror to be instantly the happiest man on earth, to be suddenly stunned beyond. I mean, that was when it was 13 seconds left and they had just scored. I just sat sideways on the bed and stared at the wall that I can't believe this has just happened.
Right.
I was so upset. And boom, 2 plays, and They score and tie the game. Now I'm insane again. It was the most up and down. And I just put up on my Facebook page just a picture of the Chiefs logo. I didn't even have anything to say. Everybody else was saying it for me. The best game they have ever seen. Yeah. And my thought was, before they hiked the ball 13 seconds, win or lose, that's the best game I've ever seen. And then it got even better. Sports announcers, guys that have been in the business for 50 years, saying that's the greatest game I've ever seen. And that was by far the best playoff weekend of all time. All four games, stellar.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great weekend, and if the overtime rules weren't different, we'd still be playing that game right now because it seems like nobody was stopping anybody. It was amazing.
I have a prediction. It would be because of that game, and it's been in the wind anyway, that game is going to cause that rule to change.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I really feel that because the Chiefs got burnt by Tom Brady 4 years ago. And now, Buffalo got burnt on the same rule.
Yeah, I'm old school, Richard. I'm old school. You got to play some defense too, man. So I blame the team that allows them to score. I mean, to me, complaining, you got to stop somebody, man, at one point or another,
But imagine how tired both those defenses were as they were just being torched.
I know. Yeah. It's crazy stuff. Richard, thank you for taking some time. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow night here in Miami at Magic City. For those of you, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, Magic City Casino. Marshall Tucker Band will open up, and then Kansas will take over and jam for over 2 hours, and we'll put together an amazing performance like they always do. Richard, you are fantastic, sir. I'm sad that because of COVID, I don't get to go backstage to meet you guys again, and even Doug over at Marshall Tucker. So sadly, the pandemic's not going to allow us to do that. But I am grateful for you taking time here to join us and the listeners and doing your thing.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Appreciate you. There you go. The great Richard Williams, man, guitarist for Kansas, who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All right.